how give me an example of how so?
Okay.
Because I feel like when we're talking about the modern disconnect, we're talking about all these technological advancements. And, there's some times where I get caught up, looking at Pinterest, looking at TikTok, looking at, and I see myself and I'm like, I got to put my phone down. My God, I'm not engaging with anything around me. Like how can the two be married together to avoid and avoid the modern disconnect?
Now, I don't know if I said this before here, but I remember this. We were a Boy Scout. We were having our summer and yearly planning meeting, Chinatown, Manhattan, at the AT&T building. And Ken took us in because he wanted one of their advertising guys to do a presentation for us, right? And they were asking them questions because they wanted us to be in a commercial or some crap like that, right? And I remember this guy. He was kind of like a dark, not Indian, but kind of like a Italian, but like, a dark, like a Sicilian type guy. He was a cool guy, very cool guy. And he was explaining to us how advertisers use colors and images to manipulate our desires.
And music,
right? And he was explaining to us how different colors, mean certain things and how they use it to get people to buy stuff. So he was explaining the psychology behind it, right? Yeah. So when you look at...
Interesting.
Right? When you look at really what's happening with the way that we do things, it's all psychology for the purpose of giving you possessions that you don't really need, right? And these are tactics that are used, right? And this is the algorithms that they use for the purpose of selling you stuff that you don't really need. Having you see things that you don't really need to see, nor are productive to your well-being, right? So on the macro level, it's to be able to kind of like realize as human beings who are creating these products, right? Because I don't believe there will be a regulation that will do that, right? And this is why the individuals are so important. Because there are people out there in advertising that know what they're doing. But it's like, I got to get mine.
Yeah.
Without caring what the effect is on everybody around them.
Well, if they cared, we wouldn't have this technological advancement.
Right? But the technological advancement of being connected, right? Of learning something new, of exploring different ways of being, right? And again, freedom of expression is fine. So you have to have both.
You need a balance.
You need a balance, right? You need a balance of self-control and self-autonomy. But you also need individuals who are creating stuff. Yeah.
Many episodes. So
something doesn't feel right. What
and
is
it? That's the point where you have to start questioning.
That's what Campbell called the call to the adventure. Because now, by redeeming and finding that within yourself, now you begin to redeem and you start living from there. That's what leadership is. Leadership is leading by example and living from that point. Now you start impacting culture, right? And those things happens earlier. In the past, shamans used to have a mental breakdown and it happened when they were younger. Now we don't believe so much into this stuff, but psychologically speaking, look, the next evolution that is happening is really a human evolution rather than a technology. Technology is just there as a supplement, right? But it's interesting to see that there's no questioning why the mental health issues are on the rise, or psychological issues, and the quest for meaning in a place that sort of quote unquote has so much meaning. This is going to be an interesting quest, an interesting journey. If you choose to accept it.
Ooh. I like your movie, whatever's. If you choose to accept it, Mission Impossible.
Whatever, I am what I am, like Popeye.
Oh, you're funny. I agree. If these themes resonate with you, how can ASQ offer additional insight into navigating this search for deeper meaning and purpose? We encourage you to join the email list for the upcoming book, A Soul's Quest, A Transformational Approach to Life, Part 1, by scanning the QR code here or clicking the link in the description. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes.